I want to quickly talk about today's State of the Game that we had on September 25th. Now, I've been watching the State of the Game recently where they had the three main ones where they were going to talk about, certain things going on with PvE, where they talked about conflict in the Dark Zone after, and today we got some stuff on balancing and how they're changing the gear and the weapons to make everything a little bit more together, allow more build diversity. And I gotta say, at first I wasn't really hopeful. The State of the Game where they have the PvP changes, where they added more polish to conflict, I was very happy about. Where they talked about getting more people into the Dark Zones and changing how the matchmaking sort of works for that. Very happy with that, but overall, those are the only two things I was happy with. I didn't hear anything about gear changes, anything to make gear more rewarding, but with today, I'm very happy about the changes I heard. They've talked a lot about how they went through every talent in the game from the gear to the guns, and they're bringing them more together, giving you more options and letting you make builds the way you want to make it. And also with the weapons, they showed off these graphs where they kind of showed the damage values of all the weapons from TU5 and then to TU6, and it looks like there's going to be a lot more weapons that are going to be viable in this patch. That was one thing that I love about Destiny that the Division just doesn't get down, is that Destiny, there are so many guns that I can choose from where it's not just one set gun to rule them all right now. There's a lot of different guns I could choose if I want to use hand cannons. There's like 5 different hand cannons I could use that are very good and very viable. There's different pulse rifles I can use. There's different snipers. There's different everything. And that's one thing the Division was lacking. You could use different weapons, but there was always that one thing that had the best DPS out there, and that's what you had to use that, where there's other things that was severely lacking. Definitely with these changes, it looks like we're going to be using a lot more weapons, which I'm happy about. I'm glad to visit the SMGs again, like the Vector, the MP7. And I really want to get into using the Police M4. I like weapons with a higher rate of fire. Some of you people that like the AK, that like to put bodies on the wall, hit hard. A lot of people look like they might be going to the AK, which is going to be good for once. So hopefully we can start using weapons based on what we do good with, what suits our build, and also what we just like in general, like the handling or whatever. I like high rate of fire, so Police M4, Vector, and MP7 are definitely going to be the combination I'm looking for this patch, and maybe try out some shotguns, seeing as they change the talent to damage to armor, making them a little bit more viable. Especially with the new KSG coming, that looks great. Also a new exotic, it's one from Odessa Sawyer, it looks really good. I like the idea of when you enter cover, you do a EMP radius effect. That's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to pair that with my Eagle Bearer, which, they kind of have the same look to it. I think that's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy this a lot. One thing I talked about recently is how a lot of the hardcore audience is going to really be affected by this patch, seeing as they're changing the talents to where you can't stack talents such as damage to elites or explosive damage, which they're going to keep in this game. They did address that. They know that this is going to be a problem for you guys, but they did reassure this had to happen. In order to get all this balancing in, they need to do it in one patch, and that's what they said. They don't plan to do something like this again, like small balance changes, yeah, they're going to do. But as far as just going through the board, fixing everything, they did it all, and it sounds like they did a very good job. Yeah, it's going to suck for you people who've put thousands of hours. I know I'm going to get hit by this too. My PvE damage build is going to hurt severely. My explosive Seeker Mine build, yeah, that's going to be hit too. A lot of my builds are going to be hit some way or another, and we're going to have to all start fresh pretty much. Try to get the gear we have and then see what we can come up with and then farm some new gear. So for all of you who were hoping that they would change that back, it's not going to happen, but at the same time, I think it has to happen. They went through, they did a huge balance pass. This was going to be hit. I think it's going to be better for the game in general. Now, of course, until we get this game into our hands, we don't know exactly how things are going to be, if all that they say is true. We've seen graphs, we've seen all the stuff, we've seen the patch notes, but it doesn't really mean much until we get this game in our hands and we start playing with it for a few weeks to kind of experiment with builds and weapons to see if it's actually all viable in some way or another. Because this all sounds good, but at the same time, we don't know. So hopefully mid-October we're going to be jumping into this. Thankfully it's mid-October because it gives me some time to play some Destiny 2 Shadowkeep coming at the beginning of this month. I'm going to be grinding that out a lot. So it's a good thing that they have it a while till now, and they definitely can work on the polish. And also with the Elite Task Force working on this patch, it's going to be nice. And apparently it's the biggest patch they had since, for the Division 2, which is going to be, interesting. That new specializations are coming. We don't know what it is yet. We're going to be visiting the Pentagon for the main storyline. That's awesome. Nothing about a new raid was announced yet, which, I'm a little disappointed about. I was hoping for each episode, we'd have some major raid coming out. Of course, we didn't have one for episode 1, but we had the raid come out before episode 1, so, I was a little bit more forgiving with that. Hopefully, this episode 2 is going to be a lot better than episode 1. That was kind of a flop. It was cool to play through, but without offering a harder story mode at the start of playing each of the zones in Kenley College, it was kind of boring, and there's not really anything in there that I need besides the Diamondback. After that, I haven't played it since. So in summary, I'm really hopeful for this patch. I think it's going to be a good change for the game, and hopefully it finally brings more build diversity and makes the game fun to play again. With us being able to target gear with the new gear targeting system, that's going to be a nice fix for getting these builds together. With them making it a little bit more simpler, with all brand sets being in all slots, with talents being on everything, with them making gear sets a little bit more powerful and you have to invest less into them. This is going to be good for the game. I think this is going to be finally the patch that brings back players and makes the game fun again. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please considering subscribing, because I'll be covering this game along with other games. There's going to be some Destiny 2 content coming out when Shadowkeep launches. Definitely Modern Warfare when that game drops. I love that beta. So yeah, go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all another day.